Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Olson. Today, I want to talk about CACI conditions and how the FAA is working to make medical certification easier. Really, they are. They are trying. One way that they're doing that is through CACI conditions. And anytime that the FAA can take the standards for medical certification and ratchet them down, in other words, make that bar a little bit lower, they're going to do that. And CACI is an example of that. So today is February 23rd, 2024. My disclaimer, as always, I'm a senior AME and a HIMSS AME, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the FAA. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my 10 plus years of experience doing this. So what is CACI? CACI stands for Conditions AMEs Can Issue. Now, I know that sounds a little bit like caca, but really this is anything but BS, okay? Um, the FAA is making things easier. Basically, the situation is this. The FAA is really getting busier, and the numbers really show the reality. From 2018 to 2022, the number of applications were up by almost 10%. I can tell you the FAA workforce did not increase by 10%, so the FAA has to find some way to become more efficient with the certification process. One way to do that is to get more help. So what they did was they shifted the review process for some of these conditions from the FAA staff to AMEs. And basically, they gave the AMEs more decision-making power for these conditions. So what are the conditions that qualify? Here's a list of the current conditions as of today, there's 24 different conditions. Some of these are a little more common, at least in my clinic, these are more common conditions, and I've highlighted them in red so you can see. What do we have? We've got arthritis and asthma and glaucoma, hypertension, hypothyroidism, migraines and chronic headaches, more common ones also prediabetes, prostate cancer, believe it or not, retained kidney stones, and weight loss management. So some of these conditions start off as requiring special issuance, but over time, as those conditions demonstrate stability with the pilot, they will then move into CACI criteria and the special issuance will go away. This list is always being evaluated by the FAA. It will most likely be added to in the future if the FAA is able to justify the parameters of that condition as low risk. Putting this into a risk perspective, this is a risk stratification model that I've provided. It's not the FAA's model, but it's my own creation, again, for descriptive purposes. And I talk about this model in my video on FAA medical certification. So if you haven't seen that yet, please check it out. As you can see in the slide here, the CACI conditions fall at what I'm describing as level 1, or this low risk level. But level 1 conditions are CACI conditions only. If we get to level 2 and above, then we start to get into the situation of special issuance requirements. So overall, you should consider these CACI conditions really to be a pebble on the road and not even close to being a roadblock for medical certification. So let's talk about how this works with your flight physical. First, you need to get a report from your treating provider regarding your condition, and this should be done prior to your flight physical so that when you go in for your physical, you can give that report to your AME. And if you pass the physical and the report from your provider meets all the standards for CACI qualification, the AME can issue a certificate. Now, the cool thing about this, from my perspective, is the AME doesn't need to send the documents to the FAA. They get to retain those for their records. Now, if you don't have the report, the AME is not supposed to issue the certificate. That means that you're going to have to go to your doctor and get a report and get that to your AME. Now, the AME can hold on to your application for up to 14 days, giving you time to get that taken care of. So what information needs to be gathered from the provider? The FAA provides a worksheet for the AME, and I'm going to stress the AME on this, okay? And the AME is supposed to use this worksheet to compare it against the report that your provider generates to see if all the information required for the condition is addressed. Technically, if that information is not in the report, the AME is not supposed to issue the certificate. So here's an example of the arthritis AME worksheet. Now I know that this is a busy slide, but I just want to show you several items here. First, the pilot is supposed to gather the report within 90 days of the flight physical. And second, for first and second class pilots, these reports will need to be gathered annually. So as the AME trying to make sure all this information is covered, it's really easy for me to give a worksheet, or what I've done in the past is to give one of these worksheets to my pilot and say, share this with your doctor and have them produce a report that addresses all of the items on this list. So what happens? The pilot takes this worksheet to their doctor, who's probably in a very busy practice, looks at it and checks the boxes off on this worksheet and hands it back to the pilot. The pilot brings it to me, and there's no signature on this, no date on it, there's no note, and nope, this doesn't work. So we have to find a different solution. So what I have done is I've created worksheets for all of the CACI conditions that my pilots can share with their provider. It covers all the required items for all the different conditions and has a signature and date block on every single form. Now these forms have been approved by the FAA. And with this worksheet, your doctor's nurse or medical assistant can fill out the form and the doctor can check it over and sign it. That doctor's busy. Last thing they want to do is spend their time not getting reimbursed for filling out some form. So my form also has a fax number on it, and the doctor's office can fax it back to me. That's no hassle. There's no running around and there's no back and forth. It's very simple. So if you have a possible CACI condition, the first thing that you want to do is you want to talk to your AME. First, you need to find out if your condition is a CACI condition, if it qualifies for that. You can ask your AME if they have a provider worksheet. And if they don't have a provider worksheet, they can go to this website, the amesite.com. It happens to be my website. It's a subscription website, but it has resources for AMEs and it includes CACI Conditions worksheets. The next thing you need to do is see your provider, get a report, and if there is a worksheet, have that worksheet filled out and provide that to your AME when you come in for your physical. So that's it for CACI Conditions. Thanks for watching. If you would like, please subscribe. Also, you could share this link with your colleagues so that they can join in on a conversation. And as always, if you're a subscriber and would like to suggest a topic that I address, please send me an email or leave a comment. So that's it. Thanks. Have a great day.